What are you doing? What are you doing?
Christmas is coming. Birthdays are waiting for you around the corner. And there's always that looming question of, what am I supposed to get people? Searching can take hours. And eventually I get sick of all those dumb suggestions from the top 10 best gifts articles. And at the end, it feels like a whole evening is wasted. And it's just a pain in the arse to look for something good that will speak to them. At its worst, it ends up becoming a last minute rush. And you're forced to, scramble to find something just days before. Like, this is supposed to be a time for celebration, not frustration. I like gift giving. It's fun, it's challenging. It lets you be a bit generous every now and then. And, it's so satisfying when you do your research well, you make your choices right, and then you just see the satisfaction on their face light up. Oh, hello there. And yeah, you just know you've done a good job, and you can see that really reflected into how they react, and it's so satisfying. What are you doing? Who are you? Now, over the years, I've pieced together this 3-part philosophy as to what makes a great gift. And, at the end of the day, I can't help you find the perfect thing. That's up to you. But with these 3 pillars, I call them, you can orient your choices, and you can really be mindful and think about something that just makes sense in that context. Because not all gifts will be the same for everyone. It really depends on who you're giving it to and where. And these 3 pillars regulate that sort of choice, a decision making. So what are the 3 features that make, I guess, a perfect gift? Well, first, it's practical. Second, it's sentimental. And finally, it's effortful. Now, there is heavy nuance here. So I know immediately you might have some objections and worries. We'll address that because it's not simplistic. It's not a simplistic approach, and you don't need all of them. You don't need even 2. You can just have 1. And it all depends on the context and what you're trying to achieve with that gift. Now, the first pillar is arguably the most important because it can stand on its own, independent of the 2 other features, and it's sentimentality. Is your gift sentimental? Does it somehow represent a personal connection between you and the receiver? A gift that's sentimental will somehow capture a shared experience you have with that person. Maybe memories, inside jokes, connections, anything from your relationship with them. And it will take that and package it into an object. For some reason, whenever I talk about this, it reminds me of Breaking Bad. Now, there was an episode where Walter White, the protagonist, he has to give a gift to Elliot, the guy with the big ears. And, they're rich, all their friends are rich, and they're giving Elliot all these lavish gifts, these rare items, really expensive stuff, and it's all a fanfare. But when it's Walter's turn to give him a gift, Elliot opens it. It's a pack of ramen. And at first, everyone's embarrassed. It's like, who is this guy? Why is he gifting ramen? Is he that pathetic and poor? But then, there's a moment of tension, and it's revealed that, well, this pack of ramen was the one that both of them ate when they worked together on their, I think, thesis it was, for I don't know how many months or years. On its own, that pack of ramen is dumb. It cost $1. It's everywhere, it's meaningless to the average person. But because of the personal connection that Elliot and Walter had, it meant something. And it became more than just its physical feature, and it was really something special and intimate that only they could understand and find value in. For a friend, you might gift them something that is part of a memory you had together, something that only they would understand. And it's special because only they know about it. Only they can apply this meaning that elevates the gift beyond its just physical form. For someone you love, like your girlfriend, wife, husband, boyfriend, whatever, the idea is similar. You can take something unique about your relationship and your love for each other and then turn it into a gift. And I say unique because why not? If you have so many shared, unique experiences, why not make it unique? You can go to the shop and get some Valentine's Day themed chocolates or something, but that's commercial. It's impersonal, it doesn't have that spark to it, that personal flair. We can do better than that. For example, for my girlfriend's birthday, I put together some of the best photos we had from, trips and stuff. I put them in a collage, printed it, and gave it a nice frame. At the end of the day, it's JPEGs. It's JPEG images on a piece of paper, but because it's unique and personal, it elevated it, and it made it special, even though it was inexpensive and just a photo. But then obviously it's not just a photo because it's with someone that you have all this companionship with. Now, I can't answer exactly what this looks like for you, obviously, because I don't know, your husband or your girlfriend. So you really have to tap into that personal element, see what defines your relationship, and then try and use that as inspiration for the next gift. Now, the next pillar is a bit of a strange one because in some situations it can stand up by itself without the other two. But in some other situations, it does need their help to really be a good gift, one that's above just mediocre. Is your gift practical? Like, does it actually function in their life? Does it make their life better? You know, these are pretty easy to spot. Coffee machines, pens, notebooks, you know, stationary equipment, appliances, all of these things that just do something. And of course, this also includes things that are temporary, not as in you're renting it to them, that's a bit stingy, but things that run out. Food, soap, notebooks eventually run out, all these things. Still practical, still a great gift if you pull it off right. Now, this pillar can both be easy to get right, but also dangerous. It has many pitfalls that people ignore. And it sounds weird, but hear me out. A practical gift can be safe. It can be people-pleasing, low risk, easy to like by almost anyone. You know, something that is small, useful, and something that everyone uses. And this is the type of thing that you would gift to your co-worker, extended family, someone you don't really know too well maybe, but you know that it's probably going to be useful in their life. Maybe a nice pen, and a wallet, a gift hamper of food and soap. Everyone uses that stuff, so it's not like you can really disappoint with it. Those type of gifts, everyone can use, unless they don't shower or eat. However, these safer choices can backfire if you're giving it to someone who's more close to you, like your parents, your children, your loved ones. It can come across as a little bit impersonal. You know, you probably wouldn't gift your wife a Bluetooth speaker or like a gift box from the local pharmacy. It's just it's a bit low effort, a bit last minute, if you get what I'm saying. Of course, it does depend on your dynamics. You know, how you treat gift giving as a family, as a couple, because it changes. It depends on who you are. And I'm not going to say that even the most basic safe gift is a bad one. It really just depends on how you treat it and how they see it as well. I'm speaking generally here, and a lot of it is based on just my personal philosophy. At the end of the day, a gift is a gift, and we should be grateful for it, even if it's low effort, even if it's something basic or simple. However, not all practical gifts are safe and impersonal. You can actually tap into some of that sentimentality by choosing a practical gift that is much more personal and relevant to their life and what you know about them. That's good thinking, but you have to be careful. And you have to really know them well and know their hobbies well. Because it's easy to gift something that you think is super useful, it's helpful and relevant, but it ends up just gathering dust, never being used again. I've seen it too much. I want to expand on some common, gifting mistakes when it comes to this in another video, but for now I'll just go over them quickly. First up, be very careful with items that rely heavily on personal taste. Things like clothes, decoration items, fragrances, anything like that. Because you might buy someone a piece of clothing and you think it's fine, and it just doesn't work with them. It sticks out, it looks weird, and they'll get it and they'll be happy. They won't say, "Oh, this is shit," straight to your face. Of course not. But then they'll feel guilty for not wearing it. They will maybe feel like they have to wear it because it's a gift, and overall it just doesn't work for them. So what should be something that makes them happy is kind of an extra problem in their life. It's very real, it happens. I tend to avoid these types of things altogether, but if you do choose to buy something like that, just be careful and make sure you really know them and you understand their philosophy. The second thing is, do not gift people new hobbies. And what I mean by that is, if they express some interest in starting guitar or something, please don't get them a guitar. We all say shit. Like, we will say, "I want to start guitar, I want to do climbing, oh, I need to get camping again." We all say this shit. Like, even on the channel, we talk about trying to balance all these different interests. Most of them we never do start, or we do in the far future. If you give someone a guitar, paintbrushes, a basketball or something, and they've only expressed interest in starting it, then again, they'll either feel guilty that they don't do it, they'll either be forced to start it even though they didn't really want to, or it will just collect dust in their cupboard. There's no real good outcome unless they were being serious about starting and they took the action. But of course, how do you know that? It's risky. Now, what's even worse than that is if you gift them a hobby completely unprovoked They never expressed any interest in starting, and you're just like, take this. Now you're a painter. Now you're a violinist. Good luck. And finally, try to understand a little bit what they do. You know, what does their daily life look like? What do they actually use every day? What maybe could use an upgrade? Or what problem do they have in their life that you could fix? It's very like, think like a businessman here almost, but it's true. You could even ask someone who knows them better, maybe what they could use, maybe what they're getting annoyed about, or you know, any of these things to just make a more informed and grounded decision. A practical gift doesn't have to be physical either. I was pleasantly surprised to find out that Skillshare, who are sponsoring this video, actually let you gift a membership to the creative person in your life, or yourself. Fair enough, I won't tell anyone. I've been using it to improve my writing skills, especially copywriting, because it's an area that is unfamiliar to me and I ought to learn a bit more of. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Skillshare is the internet's largest hub of online learning, with thousands of classes in all sorts of creative pursuits, from film to design to business even. You can use it to nourish your creative side purely for the pleasure of it, or you can use it as the foundation for your future career. It's really up to you. I really enjoyed the area on filmmaking, because early on when I was starting my channel, it lifted me off the ground and helped me learn the basics about editing, about cameras, all that stuff. There's also lots of hands-on artistic stuff like classes on painting, Photoshop and photography, which can be intimidating to approach unless you have some guidance, which Skillshare offers. And if you want to monetize your skills and make a living off of them, there's also plenty of courses on business and marketing to make that dream a reality. I write mostly scripts and articles, and I've already done a few of the classes on fiction. So I figured it was time to get stuck into copywriting so I can, expand my skill set and see a new side to the same hobby. To explore Skillshare yourself, or even to gift it to someone close to you, click the link in the description. And the first 500 people to do that will get a 1-month free trial. So do have a look. I love it. It's one of my favorite programs, and I'm sure you'll think the same. And finally, we come to the last pillar, which is a weird one because you don't really consciously see it at first. And yet people still clock it. And it can be something that either really overjoys them and makes the gift feel special, or it kind of leaves a bit of a sour taste in their mouth. Again, subconsciously, but it's there. This pillar can also take something that's, ordinary and cheap, and then elevate it to something that's special, much like the sentimentality side of it. For example, let's say you had a friend who loved to make brisket. Every Tuesday afternoon, he's smoking a brisket. He's trying to get the perfect bark. He's caring for his meat. He's got trial and error. He loves it. I don't know why it's a Tuesday afternoon. Maybe he's unemployed. But apart from that, he loves grilling, and you want to get him something that reflects that. So you go to the supermarket. Now you could get him a spice blend, a dry rub, whatever. It's a good gift. Like, you can't complain with that. It's personal. You're aware of his hobby. It's a good choice. But with just a sprinkle of extra effort, you can really elevate that and make it something that he'll remember for the rest of his life. You could buy an empty glass container with a screw-on cap. You could buy a label and a pen. And then you could buy a bunch of different spices on their own as a raw material. And then you could go home and kind of customize your own spice rub from scratch. You decide the variation, maybe you go for something that he likes, something like that. And then you write it, you label it, give it a personal touch. At the end of the day, it's a spice rub. It's the exact same thing. But one is personal, one is customized, one shows that you took the time and effort to make it from scratch. And even though it's the same thing and it's still cheap, it's special, it means something. Even if your spices are clapped compared to the store-bought one, which they might be, we're not all chefs here, it doesn't matter. Because yours has a effort into it. It has a personal touch. It has a bit of sentimentality as well, of course. And hey, even if you were completely wrong and you made something for them that they would never use, something, random, they're still gonna like it. Like, who cares? Who gives two shits? It's something that has effort behind it. And it's as the famous saying goes, it's the thought that counts. And in this case, the thought is just effort. Okay, so we've covered the 3 pillars: sentimentality, practicality, and effort. So now, how do we juggle these 3? How do we balance them and alternate them for each situation so that we can give a gift that is appropriate and fits the context? Now, in theory, when I say theory, the perfect gift will have all 3 pillars maxed out. It will be, completely sentimental, lots of effort behind it, and useful. But that's not going to happen really in most situations. However, a good gift doesn't have to have all 3. It can just have one and still be great. It all depends on the nature of the gift. Who is this person? What have you given them in the past? What's the occasion? All of these things change how the pillars interact with each other and what might be best in that moment. Now, first, with family and loved ones, you probably want to be tapping into sentimentality a bit more. Not always, because, even that's hard, but generally. Now, this, again, is your shared experiences, what you know they like, what you know that they need. You can do something similar with your friends or even co-workers. Like, sure, it won't be maybe as intimate as, your wife or your child or your parents, but still, you have your inside jokes, you have your experiences, your memories, and all of that affects sentimentality. Now, the practical side comes in clutch when there isn't much sentimentality to work with. Maybe extended family or someone, Secret Santa, that sort of thing, when you don't really know the person you're gifting to. But here, you pick something safe, like we mentioned before, something easy to like, easy to use, something that everyone can appreciate. Yes, it's not sentimental, it doesn't even have to be effortful, but it's a good gift for that situation at that time. But again, beware of relying solely on practicality for someone who's close to you. Because again, it might come off as cold, a bit impersonal, and a bit lackluster. Now, effort is really an amplifier of both other pillars. It can be sentimental and low effort, that's fine. It can be practical and low effort, that's fine. And by low effort, I mean you just bought it from a shop and you didn't make anything, you didn't customize it that much. But if you add effort to either of the other two pillars, it will just boost it up and make it even more impactful and powerful as a gift. And those were the three pillars of gift giving. I hope you liked that. It was a bit of a stretch from the usual topics, like it was completely random, if anything. But let me know if you like that and you want to see more similar things that are more general, maybe more related to just overall self-improvement, as cringy as those words are. Let me know if that's a good idea. Let me know if there's anything specific you want to see covered. And I'm grateful for you being here and for watching and for commenting. It's really nice, I'm grateful for it. I also have a newsletter which you might like. It's linked in the description. It's free, of course, not spammy at all. And we cover similar topics here on the channel, of course, but also some new stuff that's not seen here. So do have a look, I think you'll like it. And then, unsubscribe if you don't. So as always, thank you so much for watching, I appreciate it.